John came home in the morning. All night he and his friends has been partying at the nightclub. Staggering slightly, he entered the house trying not to make any noise. He didn't want to run into his father, who will certainly start lecturing him, calling him lazy and idle. But as soon as he stepped on the threshold, John saw his father. "Tell me, my dear son, when will your nocturnal partying stop?" Charles asked his son. "Dad, don't start. I'm tired and want to sleep." John tried to brush it off. "I wonder, what are you tired of? Having fun with your friends in such hard work?" resented his father. "Let me go to my room and just get some sleep." "Oh no, you will listen to me." Charles has been trying for years to get his son to get his mind right, but it was as if he didn't hear his father. He spent all his time in company and didn't want to work, and Charles dreamed too much that John would carry on his work. "All my life, your late mother and I thought that our only son would be a shepherd and suffering in old age. And you do not even try to become independent. What do you want from me? I went to college, graduated from university, everything you wanted. And now I want to vacation and spend my time the way I want to." John asked. "I wonder how you will behave if you had to work and earn your own bread." Charles frowned. "What will you do if I didn't top up your bank cards regularly? I'm sick of listening to your reproaches." John turned around and went to his room, not wanting to continue the conversation. And Charles could only look sadly after him. He loved his only son and wished him well, but the boy completely stopped listening to his father's words. But Charles gave him everything that young people can only dream of. John always had money. His father bought him an expensive car and never denied him anything. Soon Charles will grow old. Then he will continue his work. Helen once again quarreled with his son. He was going to the office of his company when there was a knock on the door. "Hello, Charles." Sarah entered the house. The woman has been helping Charles around the house for months, cooking, cleaning. He met her by the chance, when one day, on the anniversary of the death of his wife, came to the church. Sarah was standing at the gate begging for alms. Poorly dressed but neat woman attracted Charles' attention. He gave her money and asked her why she was begging outside the church. "I have a sick husband and 3 children," Sarah told him. "I have to come here to feed them." The woman was sad, and Charles decided to help her. "Tell me, can you clean my house and cook dinner? I can pay you to help with the chores." "I can," Sarah agreed happily. "Then come back tomorrow." Charles wrote an address on a piece of paper and handed it to her. All the time that Sarah worked in his house, he was kind to the poor and happy woman, and she tried very hard to please, cooked and cleaned well. This morning, the woman came into the clean-up. "Are you leaving already?" she asked. "Yes, I have to, but you go ahead," Charles told her, noticing that Sarah was very sad about something. The man decided to ask her what was wrong, and she suddenly cried. "Oh, come on, Sarah. Don't worry so much. Any problem can be solved. I don't have the strength anymore. I don't have enough money," Sarah complained. "Don't I pay you enough?" Charles frowned. "No, you don't. You pay me well for my work, but my children need clothes, and I can't buy medicine for my sick husband." Charles knew how hard it was for his housekeeper. The woman worked alone, barely able to provide for her daughter and 2 younger sons. And on this night, she hadn't slept a wink at all, worrying about her husband, who had been moaning in pain all night. Inexpensive medicines, for which Sarah barely had enough money, were no longer helping the sick man. "What can I do for you?" Charles asked. "Do you want me to buy the right medication for your husband?" "Thank you. You're already very kind to me, but you don't have to help us so much." Sarah looked at Charles with gratitude. "I will never be able to earn enough money to pay you back." "Listen, you have a grown-up daughter, don't you?" the man asked her. "Yes, she's 18. Why don't she get a job? It will make you feel better." "She works part-time as the dishwasher in the cafe in the evening. She comes home late at night. She's tired, but she gets a pittance." "Okay, Sarah. I will try to help you and your family," Charles said. "Have your daughter come tonight and we will talk to her." "I'm so grateful to you," Sarah replied, wiping away her tears. She had worked all day, cleaning the kitchen and the rooms, preparing a delicious dinner, and when John came out of the room, she set the table to feed the boy. "You're a great cook," the boy said, eating a fried chicken leg. "Eat up," Sarah said. "I bet you slept all day and haven't eaten anything." There was a knock at the door. It was Sarah's daughter Sandra. John looked at the poorly dressed girl with disdain. She stood modestly in the doorway. "Sandra, you sit in the kitchen," her mother told her. "The master will be here soon. He wants to talk to you." The girl obediently went into the kitchen and sat down on a chair. John finished his juice and left the house. His friends were waiting for him, with whom he was going to spend a fun evening. When Charles came home, Sarah had already finished all chores. She and her daughter were drinking tea in the kitchen, wondering what the landlord could do to help them. "Sarah, I think I have a good idea," said the man. "A good friend of mine has a beauty parlor. She has agreed to hire your daughter. The money is good and you won't have to work late at night." "I'm so glad. You will help us a lot if Sandra gets a job." Sarah didn't know how to thank the owner of the house. "I hope you won't let me down." Charles looked at the girl carefully. "I will try very hard. Believe me." "Deal. You can go to Monica tomorrow. That's the name of the owner of the beauty parlor. She will explain everything to you and tell you what to do." "Thank you." Sandra thanked him. "You're welcome. I'm glad you went to help your mother in work. It's just a pity that my son doesn't even think about it." In the beauty parlor, there were many visitors. Beautiful girls and women, fragranced with expensive perfume, boasted to each other jewelry and fashionable clothes. Hairdressers and manicurists were bustling around them. Sandra felt awkward in the midst of all this luxury and glitz. "Charles said that you really need a job," said Monica, the owner of the beauty salon. "I will help you, but you have to try." Sandra liked Monica very much. The beautiful young woman seemed kind to her, and she also promised that in the time she would teach the girl how to be a hairdresser. In the meantime, Sandra spent days scrubbing the floor and tidying up, trying to be incapricious and not to be seen by the rich clients of the salon. In her spare moments, she liked to watch the women transform. She imagined herself in those chairs in front of large mirrors, dreaming that someday she too could become so beautiful, luxurious, well-groomed. But these were only dreams. One morning, Sandra's mother couldn't get out of bed. "Darling, seems I'm a little sick," she said to the girl. "Could you go to Charles' house for me?" "Sure, I will go," Sandra agreed. She knew that her mother was very afraid of losing her job in the house of a rich man. The girl listened to her mother's instructions She had a lot to catch up, and then she had to go to Monica's beauty parlor. Charles was surprised to see Sandra. How will you have time to do everything? He asked her. I will do my best. I will make dinner and clean the house, and then I will run to the beauty parlor, Sandra assured him. She was just finishing her work when John came out of the bathroom. Sandra was embarrassed to see the guy quickly put away the dishes in the kitchen and hurried away. He only grinned as he watched the girl hurriedly run away, closing the door behind her. Hey, wait, I'll buy you coffee, he shouted after her. But Sandra didn't answer. What a funny girl. At that moment, John had a funny idea. The night before, he and his friends were relaxing in the bar. John's birthday was approaching, and the guys were discussing how they will celebrate it. I'm going to throw such a party that you will get caught, John declared. What can you surprise us with? His buddy Kevin asked him. John wondered. It was hard to surprise his money-savvy friends, but he certainly wanted his party to be the most fun. I will think of something, he said. You will love my birthday party. And when he saw Sandra at the house that morning, he decided he will bring her to his party. My buddies are going to laugh at the poor girl, he thought, imagining how they will make fun of the girl. John's company was made up of beautiful girls from rich families. They were always brightly and fashionably dressed and spared no expense on cosmetics. And Sandra had nothing to wear. John found the idea of making fun of the poor girl amusing. When she came back to the house a few days later to clean up and cook dinner, he tried to be polite and courteous to Sandra. Watching her standing at the stove, he poured himself some juice and sat down at the table. Tell me, Sandra, how do you spend your free time? The boy asked. I don't have any, Sandra answered. I have a sick father and a little brothers at home, and during the day I work at Monica's salon. So, you don't have any fun at all? John was surprised. I don't have time for fun. Don't you think it's boring to live like this? Only work and housework. I couldn't do that. What can you do? Our life is very different from yours, Sandra said. I'm sorry, I have to go. I'm in a hurry to go to work. Do you want me to give you a ride in my car? John suddenly offered. Sandra looked at her watch. She was very afraid of being late, so as not to displease Monica. Can you really drive me? She looked at John incredulously. Of course, there's no trouble at all, Sandra thought. John was not very nice to her, but today he was suddenly so polite and helpful. She agreed. All the way, John talked about his friends and how much fun they were having in nightclubs and bars. Sandra had never been to such establishments. It was a whole other world that was beyond her reach. Listen, Sandra, do you want to come to my birthday party? I will invite you. You will love it. You will have a lot of fun. John asked suddenly. I don't know. The girl was confused. She could not imagine that she would be in John's company because he was rich and her family could hardly earn enough to that. Come on, you won't regret it. Smiling at Sandra, John persuaded her. The girl said nothing. Getting out of the car, she saw Monica, who approached the cabin. Who gave you a ride? Wasn't it Charles' son? She asked Sandra. Yes, he's. Monica looked at John's car as it drove away. Did you decide to be friends with him? No, he just gave me a ride so I wouldn't be late for work. Sandra shook her head. He also invited me to his birthday party. Sandra didn't know why she had told the salon owner. Monica looked at the girl truthfully. You know, Sandra, I know Johnny since childhood. He's a big sluggard, but he's not a bad guy. I just don't understand why is he paying attention to you. You're not really his type. I don't know. Sandra shrugged her shoulders. I never thought John would want to invite you to his party. You have to go to his party. I don't even have anything to wear. And what I'm going to do, there will all beautiful girls and rich guys. Don't think about it. We will think of something, Monica told her. A week later, John stopped by the saloon to once again invite Sandra to his birthday party. The girl was mopping the floor when he appeared in front of her. The thought of how his friends would laugh at the poor girl never left John. No one had ever invited such a beggar girl to the company before. The guy handed Sandra the invitation, which included the address. I see John is persistent. Monica smiled as he left. She took the invitation from Sandra's hands and read it. The party is tomorrow. She looked at the girl enigmatically. The next day, Monica asked Sandra to stay late after work. There was no one in the saloon, and she sat the girl in the chair in front of the large mirror. "You're quite beautiful," Monica said, looking at her reflection in the mirror. "You just need a little more gloss." She untangled Sandra's long hair, which she usually tied up in a bun at the back of her head, combed and curled the ends. Then she started on her makeup. "Well, look at it. How do you like this new look?" asked Monica, satisfied with her work. "Now we will give you a beautiful manicure, and then we will think of something to wear. I'm sure you will be the most noticeable beauty at John's party." The salon owner pulled a beautiful red dress and shoes out of the closet. "But I've never worn shoes with heels." Sandra looked at all this wealth and couldn't imagine how she would walk in such shoes. "There is nothing difficult about it," Monica smiled. "Just keep your back straight, put them on." When Sandra arrived at the nightclub, when John was celebrating his birthday, the party was in a full swing. "So, where's your surprise, John?" Kevin asked. "We're all looking forward to see what you're going to surprise us with." "I hope you will have a good laugh, but just be patient," replied the boy. He kept glancing out the door, waiting for Sandra to enter the nightclub. Suddenly, his gaze stopped on a beautiful girl in a red dress. With an easy gait, she walked towards him, smiling embarrassedly at him. John's friends also noticed the unfamiliar girl. "Happy birthday, John," Sandra said, walking up to the guy. He put aside the cocktail glass and looked at her without looking away. It was an incredible transformation. Sandra was so gorgeous that in an instant she outshone all the other girls present. "Who's it, John?" Kevin asked his friend, but he couldn't say a word. He could not imagine that a girl from a poor family could be so beautiful. "I think this is the girl I can live a day without," John said, barely breathing. They twirled in the center of the hall in a slow dance. That night, John fell in love for the first time and wanted to change his life. At his son and Sandra's wedding, Charles, smiling, said, "I wasn't wrong when I decided to help you and your mom. You are a wonderful, intelligent, and very kind girl. Next to you, my son has changed completely. Now I'm calm for his fate."